We're back live. You're looking at these live pictures of Tahrir Square, where tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people have now gathered in downtown Cairo. They're anticipating that the Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak will announce on Egyptian television shortly that he is stepping down, even though the official information minister of Egypt, Anas El-Fekias, said that the president is definitely not going to step down. So the mystery continues right now. We'll just have to wait and see what Mubarak himself does. If he announces he's not stepping down, this crowd will explode in anger, as will so many other Egyptians around the country. We want to welcome back our viewers here in the United States and around the world. I'm Wolf Blitzer. We're reporting for you on CNN and CNN International right now. Anderson Cooper is with us as well. Anderson, I can only imagine, I can only anticipate what that crowd would do if Mubarak goes on television shortly and comes up with some sort of story explaining why he's staying as president until the scheduled elections in September.
Well, let's look at what's just happened in the last couple of days. We had earlier this week the biggest protest that we have seen in more than 2 weeks. And just yesterday, we saw the protests growing to areas outside the parliament, outside the health ministry, I believe. So not just in the square, but now in other areas nearby. And also we heard of strikes that were taking place in various places around the country. So the momentum is growing for the protesters. If Mubarak does not satisfy their demands tonight on television, if he comes up short in his statements, this is only going to mobilize them all the more. I mean, this thing is building and building and building. Momentum is on their side. It seems as if the power now has shifted to being in their hands. So if Mubarak has not heard that, if he's not willing to step down, yes, perhaps violence, but let's not underestimate these protesters. This is a group which has been peaceful for more than 2 weeks now, since this began, who defended themselves when attacked by mobs. Mobs appeared with weapons, with rocks, with Molotov cocktails, and yes, they defended themselves, and they did it in an extraordinary way, and they repulsed a large attack of thousands and thousands of pro-government attackers, and they have held on to that square. But there is no doubt, if Mubarak does not step down tonight, does not hand over power in some meaningful, real way, and either exit the country, or they're increasingly saying he can stay in the country. They don't want to humiliate the man. Many people say that. Mohammed al-Baradei has said that. He doesn't have to leave, but they want him to step down. If he does not do that, this will grow. We can't say whether or not violence will immediately break out, but certainly the momentum will only build. More people, especially now, given all these signals that he is going to step down, people's expectations have been raised. And again, they are tasting in that square, Wolf. I mean, I know maybe the pictures after a while start to look the same to everybody who's watching it around the world, but every day is different in that square, and it really is this extraordinary place where people, for the first time in their lives, can actually express themselves. And you hear people. It's interesting. Usually in Egypt, no one wants to talk on camera. People are worried about being identified. In that square, people grab you and say, like, videotape me. I want to say something. I want to say something to the world. It's as if they are exhilarated with the ability to actually speak their minds and to say the words that they haven't been able to say, to come with pictures of Mubarak and draw funny things on his face. And I mean, that's why you see this exuberance. If that is betrayed tonight, there's no telling what will happen in the hours ahead. We're already entering on a new day there, but I have no doubt this thing will not stop. Also, the other question is, if he does step down tonight and he hands over power to Vice President Suleiman, is that going to be enough for these protesters? I don't think it is. I mean, Suleiman is part of the Mubarak regime. Suleiman has been his right-hand man. Suleiman has run the intelligence services, which are feared in that country. This is a man who, yes, he's popular in the United States among officials because he's viewed as a man who can be dealt with and not necessarily corrupt. And he's popular in Israel because he's maintained close relationships with Israel and maintained the peace treaty. But for these protesters, this is a man who has been the closest confidant of Hosni Mubarak, who saved his life in an assassination attempt in Ethiopia. No one is closer to Mubarak than Suleiman. Will the protesters really put up with him allegedly transitioning to democracy? Will they really believe that he is capable of that? I don't know the answer to that, but I do think it's a critical question, and certainly, you know, the military, Wolf, is, I think, probably the institution most people, Wolf, would be willing to embrace as some sort of transitional government.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that's the only institution in Egypt that might be able to transition towards some sort of democracy and free and fair elections. Let's go back to the square. Ivan Watson is there right now. Ivan, I know all sorts of rumors are circulating on Twitter and Facebook and the social networks out there. It's been almost 6 hours since the first report started surfacing that Mubarak would speak on Egyptian television and announce that he's stepping down. But people are getting nervous, I assume, where you are.
You know, the rumor is really
All right, hold on, Ivan. We're going to try to get your audio up to speed. Fred Pleitgen, can you hear me? Did you hear my question?
Certainly am, Wolf. I can hear you very well. And yes, I do think people might be starting to get a little bit nervous, though I think most still believe that Hosni Mubarak will indeed resign today. I have one gentleman here, sir. He's actually been waiting a long time to speak to us. Thank you very much. Sir, we were expecting an announcement tonight that Hosni Mubarak might step down. It's taking a little longer. Are you scared that maybe he will not resign today?
No, I am scared of resign, not scaring. We are waiting for this moment for a long time, from 30 years. I am 31 years old. I don't see anyone but Mubarak. Mubarak standing on us all these years.
Who do you think should be the next president of Egypt?
Anyone who the people here who elect him or choose him. We have to have elections. We have to have democracy, our rights. We have no rights here in Egypt before. But I think from this square, Tahrir Square, the freedom and justice and liberation and social
reform?
Yes, all things come at the first time from here, from the...
So you are sure that today Hosni Mubarak will go?
Will go? Hosni Mubarak will go? Go to any place. But leave Egypt. Leave Egypt, Egyptian. Leave Egyptians. People here, pressure and security arms dealing with people in very bad way.
What is your opinion on the way America is dealing with this?
I think America at the first time was with us, support us to choose to have our choose, to choose our president, to have our rights in life. We are people, not animals. America at the first time was very good with us, but we don't want or we don't need the support from America. The people here make anything. People, Egyptians, will make anything. Will make what they want because they know what they want now. And at this time, and Mubarak will go out, and our dealings, our relations with America, with Europe, all over the world will be in a better way.
Thank you very much, sir. There you have it, Wolf. As you can see, people, I would say it's getting a little more edgy as this drags on. People were expecting Hosni Mubarak to speak, of course, about 40 minutes ago. It hasn't happened yet. It is getting a little more edgy despite what people are saying. However, as you can see, they are still very, very confident. And one of the other things I think that's worth mentioning, Wolf, is that I have the impression, I'm sure Ivan and maybe Ben can see more of this, but I have the impression that the square is getting a lot fuller by the minute, Wolf.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. We're going to check in with Ben Wiedemann in just a moment. Ivan Watson is there, Hala Garani, Anderson Cooper. We've got all of our reporters on the scene. We'll take a quick break. We're waiting for the president of Egypt, Hosni Mubarak, to speak on Egyptian television. We'll be back in 60 seconds.